there, good evening. Welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt, and you can see, joined by my bearded brother is Paddy Boy, because we're just going to have a wee quick look at the game this evening. We're about an hour away for kick-off as we take on Roma at Celtic Park in another match of the Europa League. Now, Paddy, we managed to scramble our way back into the picture, where we managed to get a decent win against Feyenoord, and we found ourselves in with a wee bit of chance of qualification. Wilfried Nancy's come in. I think it's safe to say that since he's arrived, that he's come under intense scrutiny from anybody that wants to push a narrative of how a pop at the man, and that extends everywhere from the MSN right down to the fan base of some. And the only way you can turn that around, mate, is to start getting some wins and performances and putting it all together. And unfortunately, Roma doesn't appear to be an easy obstacle to get that first win. So with that in mind, Paddy, before we jump into the nuts and bolts of it, have you changed at all from the expectations of none?
As a Celtic fan, Steve, we always remain optimistic. As much as I was upset by the game against Hearts and by some of the things that were happening, like we said about the tactics board and stuff, if he pulls it off and he gets a result, he's a fucking genius. If he doesn't, then it's in all the papers and everybody's saying that he's been playing Monopoly and he's been doing this.
Were you upset, Paddy? I don't think you were upset.
No, mate, I know. Listen, I was slightly upset, but going into this, mate, Celtic Park, under the lights, fans there behind them, Celtic can do anything. They really can. And obviously we've seen the team line up and we will get into that, we will break it down, but I just think that we have to go out and show something. Roma, you can speak about them, Steve, that in the Serie A they're doing okay. In the Europa League, they're not firing on all cylinders. Do you know what I mean? They're not right up there, so we're in there a shout, I think.
I mean, we had to be look at them. We'll talk about them as we go on. And we've seen them play. We've seen them play at the other side of Glasgow. So we've got a rough idea of what you're going to get. And we can use that as some sort of yardstick to what to expect tonight. But we will get in about that. But as we say, as always, a wee bit of housekeeping in the front. Welcome to everybody here. I know that it's an hour before kick-off. I know about a lot of folk going to the game. I know about a lot of you watching the baddies, whether you say it or not. So where you are watching along with us right now, then thank you very much. If you are joining retrospectively, maybe at half time or whatever, then thank you very much. Just hit the subscribe button, as we always say, because he's got it on there. There he is. He's one of them. I knew that. Right, there you go. But that maybe give us a wee something to smile about as we go along here. But no, as we say, hit the subscribe button. It's the most important thing that we can say to you, and it costs you nothing to do it. So get that hit below. If you like it, give it a wee thumbs up. You know all that by now, and connect with us elsewhere on our socials. All down below in the description for this video. So thank you very much for everybody that does that. But yes, Paddy, let's get down to business. And what we'll say is before we bring up the lineup that we've got in the opposition lineup, just want to have a wee bit of a reflection on, as we say, the turbulent start for Wilfried Nancy, which has not only been as a result of the result against Hearts, but it's been everything. And I think if the man had to learn very, very quickly that there's no such thing as peace and quiet, and you are continually under scrutiny when you are managing Celtic, then this would have been the week that he will have experienced everything from tactics to tactics board, to the way that he speaks, the language he's been using, to the performance itself, right down to what clothes he's wearing. I've seen people moaning about his trainers, mate. Is there any way that this man can really get this big weight, this big stone round his neck off it, other than with performances? Now, again, I say that means wins, yes, but tonight, does a 2-0 against Roma, if it weren't to go our way for tongue's sake, hopefully, touch wood, it goes our way, but is he only hiding to nothing tonight, mate?
I think tonight, if you could call it anything, a free hit. I don't think any Celtic fan in their real mind is going to sit there and go, yeah, we're going to squad them tonight. I don't believe that anybody will sit there and say that. Now, being a Celtic fan, you expect victories. And when we said about Wilfried Nancy coming in, Steve, that was one of the things that I said. We need a manager to come in and understand that he's going to have that pressure every single week. That pressure that, listen, mate, you need to win this. I don't care if you're playing Barcelona, Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. whoever you're playing, you're a Celtic manager, you're expected to go out there and get a result. And I think he needs to put in a performance, and he needs to have an honest performance. And if he comes out and says things like he had before there about he's happy, as long as the performance is okay, the result doesn't matter. That's not one for a Celtic manager. And I think that's some of the things that's getting him scrutinised. That's some of the things that are being highlighted here. Obviously, you're saying there people slagging his trainers, I was slagging his tactics board, things like that. That's all relative birthday card pitch against Evo. That's what that is. We'll judge him on his performances. If he's going to be basing games on the actual performance and not the result, then I think he's got a lot to learn. But we'll wait till tonight pans out.
Well, Paddy, just to touch on it, we want to jump into sort of talking about the game, but as I said, I want to have a wee bit of reflection on Nancy, because I'll be honest, I'll reiterate it once again. I've been fairly disgusted by the lack of warm welcome that he's had. Yes. We could expect the sniping coming from the mainstream media. We could expect it from the opposition fans and everybody else, but I never expected it so heavily, as I said, from our own fan bases. And the amount of times that I have been engaged in conversations with people, whether friends, colleagues, online, people tagging us, people DMing us, asking us opinions, and almost at times to tell me I'm wrong and that I'm maybe being a bit too optimistic, and I'm like, based on what here, as we said, we've had about a week now, we've had one result, and you are hanging a guy out to dry based on absolutely nothing. Even people are, reinventing and sort of rewriting what they saw against Hearts. I want to talk about that with the tactics board thing. As Jake's saying, let's be honest, see if Roll pulls that out, probably we Celtic fans would obviously have a laugh at it. Of course we would, but you would probably find the way that would have been posted by the mainstream media is look at this brilliant tool that this guy's pulled it to visualize to perhaps his players who don't speak fluent English, and it's English is a great way of demonstrating it visually and quickly. Or someone like Newton comes in, or Nicky Hyen produces that. It's like, look at this is brilliant. But no, it's the guy who came for the MLS, he's French, and he's basically hung out to dry for it. You said you didn't like some of the way that he spoke and he approached things. Yes. You've managed to hear him a couple of times now, including the run-up to this game. And if you changed any on that, Paddy, because again, I thought that he spoke quite well and his pre-match stuff. I thought that he gave a good account of himself. He's thinking where he wants to go. And more importantly as well, he didn't bend at the knee. He didn't feel compelled to justify his methods and explain it away. He, in short, basically went, it's something I occasionally use. I might use it again. I might not. I don't know. He didn't give you an answer. He basically says, this is what I'm doing and deal with it. Did you take much more away from him this week, mate?
From what I've seen so far, mate, is he seems quite confident in himself. We'll give him that. He's... listen, he came in and changed the formation straight away. That tells you all you have to know about this man. He believes in the process. He believes that what he's doing is going to be the best for Celtic. Now, I feel that if that is the case and he is this tactical genius that he believes he is, then once we get the players to fit that role, we will be a far better squad. I just think at the minute, the players that we have in the positions that he's going for aren't up to the standard that he's expecting.
No, I think that's fair.
That's me giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I think the players obviously do need to step up. And we said that before. There was guys in there, Steve, who were passengers. And I think some of them will get a game again tonight.
We'll talk about it. Yep. Again, just to finish up on that off of the Heart stuff, one of the key things that I think a lot of people are forgetting now, I will maintain, folk says, blindly defending him. I'm not blindly defending him. As I say, I'm using it on the balance of the fact of so little time. What do you expect is what I'm getting at. And I know Martin O'Neill got a bit of belief into some of these players. There's no doubt that he'll probably pick up these players as well and give them belief, but it's such a quick turnaround to do something. But again, the thing that he was getting slagged off for was the tactics, right? Now, as I said, we spoke earlier on, Paddy, when you actually watch that back, right, and if you're honest with yourself, you watch that back, after we saw that tactics board thing around about 60 minutes, I think it was, we bring on a sub, 60 minutes, the tactic wars come out. It's just unfortunate we get that sort of corner and the goal goes in, right? But he instantly reacts to that. We make a second and only sub again, and then there's shortcomings because we make no other substitutions after that. But the point being, see when you watch that, that's our best period for that. After we concede the second, right to the end, and Celtic actually generate 5 cracking chances there. One's after bar, couple of saves. Celtic could easily have turned that around, if not pegged it back. And again, fine margins. If they go in, everybody's looking at the tactics and going, look at that. But there was a great video, and as I said before, I don't particularly rate the guys about Rangersy. I think his name's Johnny Walker or something, does all these sort of analytics and football tactics stuff online. He actually posted a video, and even though he's very Rangersy all the time, he put out a video that showed what was getting moved about on that board and says, and here's what they've done. And essentially, when you watch it back and you see it in action, we realised that there was no luck down the right-hand side. We focused on the left, we overloaded, we overlapped, and from that, we get 5 brilliant chances. We just don't take them, right? Now, as I say, if they go in or 2 of them go in or whatever, the guy's a genius. But I just think if anybody's not seen that video, you should actually go and see it, because even though it didn't work in terms of the result didn't come, the tactical change actually did work. And as I said earlier in our last show, Paddy, he can't make those players put the ball in the net. That needs to happen.
Yeah.
So I took enough away for it to go, right, we maybe slagged it off, we didn't understand it, but now it's been visualised, it's been shown, it's been broken down in a video. Yep, I can see what happened there, and I can say that actually worked. So
when you see when you actually highlighted it to me, I went back and had a wee look, and listen, you're spot on. It did change the game a little bit, and that's what we've been screaming for. How many times have we seen the Brendan Rodgers substitutions in the 66th minute when, again, it's players in the same position? It's not changing the formation. It's not changing anything. If anything, you're weakening the squad because you don't have the like for like to bring off the bench. And then under Martin O'Neill, again, you've seen very similar. He didn't change the formation a lot. Maybe a few tweaks here and there, bringing on players who would do something different. But you didn't see that changing it to make an impact. And that's what we've seen under Nancy.
And this is the thing, Paddy. This is where I'm saying and appealing to folk. Give it a chance. Yeah. Because this is the problem. We're so fickle as fans where we literally want our cake and eat it, right? So, you know, we want managers to adapt. We want managers to change and be flexible, change formations, make big decisions, make earlier subs, right? We do that and we're unhappy. So we do it and we're unhappy. It's the same way as we always want to be sort of forward thinking and we want to try and do something different in the managerial points. I was watching Axom this afternoon, and one of the contributors made this point. I thought that, you know what, that's bang on. But he says we try an experimental appointment as Dyla, nobody's happy. We then go and we get a marquee manager, Brendan Rodgers, and there's still folk that aren't happy with that. Then somewhere in between that, we make another appointment, which is about left field, is Ange Postecoglou. Nobody's happy with that. We then get back the marquee guy. Nobody's happy with that. And now we go and we try to get someone, as we say, that's fresh, that's new, that's different. And nobody's happy with that. You just can't please some folk, Paddy.
I know, mate. Listen, like you said, we're Celtic fans, we're fickle. We want the best for our squad, but we expect everything. And that's the case. You're talking about like the expectation of managers coming in and stuff, Steve-O, and like how we view things differently. Like I slated Arnie Engels for the best part of a year and a half for playing a position that he wasn't comfortable with. And then you see him in another position under another manager, and it looks incredible. We slag Greg Taylor for being caught out of position. But then when you see another player in his position, you're going, well, wait a minute, why is he not overlapping it in midfield like Greg Taylor does? And then you go, oh, wait a minute, that's why he's out of position, because he's helping there, he's doing this, he's doing that. And there's so many wee things that people forget, all of these wee silly things. And if we've got this manager in here who, like you say, Steve, he's going to change the wheel, isn't he? He's going to revolutionise everything.
Well, hopefully that's the plan.
It's coming. I hope so. I think that's my heart overruling my head. I hope that he gets it right. I hope that people start to buy into it. And I think if he gets a good performance tonight, obviously goes on Sunday is massive as well. Mm-hmm. We win the cup on Sunday, first bit of silverware in there. Things like that, people will start to realise and start to get behind them and give them that support. Yeah.
Paddy, I said to one of my friends last night, and I'll repeat it here. Yeah, it's early as I says, I'll assess him in the fullness of time. And when the criticism my friend was giving out, he says, well, what if he loses the cup final? And I says, yep, I will then severely start to be a bit more harsh on my assessment. But at the same time, I says, obviously, touch wood, we want to win the cup. State the obvious, Steve. Of course I do. But if, for talking sake, we put in a right good performance and we just lost it by like a goal or some freak instant, right, then I could maybe be a bit more philosophical about it, a bit more level, and go, right, okay, third game in, not ideal. It was a massive one. I'll reflect and say, what was the performance like? How did it look? How was the manner of the loss? And I would maybe give allowances. If it were just a straight up loss and you were garbage, then of course that would change how I look at it. Now, you know, I know that folk will say, nah, unacceptable. And do you know what? I'll even use it as unacceptable. Celtic, not because it's Wilfried Nancy, Celtic shouldn't lose a cup final against St Mirren. It's as simple as that for me. But again, based on the metrics, everything, the game against Hearts, they've been thrust in, trying new things. Game against Roma tonight that I expect nothing out of, and then a cup final, go right, thick and fast, massive pressure games. How did the team look? And like, again, I know it's different because Ange Postecoglou was the start of the season, right? But we play in Europe, we go out, I think it's Midtjylland, isn't it? We go out to, we look garbage there. We have that early stage in the league and we look garbage, but we then you kind of start to see what's happening. It picks up. See if I got that vibes where I can see tonight what's happening. It doesn't work. We maybe got in the cup final, we scrape through it, we win, and I can still see what's happening, then I'll take more from it. If I see nothing, that changes my opinion. But I said to my friend, I'm saying right through to the end of this year, I'll start to form, once there's a body of work, I'll form more of an opinion on him, but particularly after a transfer window. The man said it himself, he doesn't have time. 2-1 to Fenerbahce. Yes! The Hungarian hoops have scored. Love it. Yes, that's fine. That's cheered me up a bit. But sorry, I digressed away. But what I also said to this friend is I have never, just simply because of the uproar, I have never, ever wanted a manager that's been at Celtic to ram it down the throats of certain people, our fans, the mainstream media, than this guy, just simply because of how quick the pile-on was. I have never, ever seen the sorts, mate. We are talking 3 days in the country and getting hammered for nothing. I have never been so behind a guy and willing him on, you know, the little train that could. I want this guy to be a massive success. I want every manager at Celtic to be a success, but I want this guy to get it right round everybody and for us to be sitting further down the line and all the naysayers doing their rewriting of history. Now, I'm sitting here and I could be chopped up and I could be made to look like a tit by backing the guy, but I've got to back him because I've only seen one game.
Yeah.
I've only seen one game, Paddy.
The thing is, Steve, I think when the backlash has come from is obviously the Hearts game was massive, mate. And we expected, I fully expected after that Hearts game to be top of the league, to be sitting pretty, sitting there going, haha, right, we're back, chases. And I think performance levels, we were okay. Conceded 2 poor goals. One where we were sleeping because we thought he was offside and he wasn't. And like that was just false play to the whistle. That's schoolboy stuff. The other one, a header from a set piece. How many times do we concede for a set piece? But listen, Hearts are spot on with set pieces. They've got an actual set piece coach in there. And they've scored the most goals this season for set pieces in the league. So that tells you all you need to know about them. Yes, we were unhappy with the result. Yes, he's been slated for changing the formation, for pulling out the tactics board, for wearing guff trainers, whatever else. I just think...
Can I just jump in on that, mate? Right. The guy was wearing a pair of green specials or whatever it was, right? And a Celtic trackie, right? And he's getting slagged off. Martin O'Neill, no disrespect to him, 70-3 was wearing a full tracksuit. But he's like, this is amazing. Martin O'Neill's wearing a tracksuit. I mean, if anything, you're like, that's embarrassing. You're like, you know, he's 73-year-old man's wearing a full trackie. I'd expect
he looked good in the trackie though, didn't he? He looked good in
but do you get what I'm saying here, Paddy? I would probably expect that to get poked fun at.
I know.
You know,
some people probably would have.
It's madness. It's madness, Paddy.
Yeah. Listen, we're in a results-based industry, and that's the problem. If Nancy turns up and he's wearing the trainers and whatever he's wearing, and he pulls out that taxi board, anything else, and he gets a result, The guy's a legend, Steve.
Mate,
Nobody's talking about
and
this.
do you know what? He got asked in a press conference what he'd been doing and settling in. Do you know, fucking sound the alarm. The guy phoned his maw. Out of order. Get him in the bin. Imagine phoning your maw. Honestly, seriously, come on, man.
Wish I could phone my mom.
Exactly.
Aye.
But this is my point. I'm just, and as the commenters are saying there, I just hope and pray that this guy gets it right. Tonight for me will not be a measuring stick on it, because I said the last show and I say again, I don't care what people think or want to say. Celtic, I would still expect to lose this with Martin O'Neill there. Yeah. And similarly as well, I see there's people saying, you know, the cup final, Martin O'Neill would definitely win that. Again, I say no guarantees. Look at the last game against St Mirren.
So
exactly. So this is the thing. But Paddy, let's jump straight in about it. I'm aware of the time, and we'll maybe go on our 15 minutes here. So the lineups are up. I'm going to share both the teams here right now, and this is what we're getting from ourselves and for the opposition. As we said, Paddy, right, he's stuck by his guns. Yes. He's sticking by that formation. That might be the hill that he dies on. But what are you surprised about here? Because I'll be totally honest with you, Paddy. It's some of the personnel, right? I'll say it right now. I thought Tanecki was absolutely rid raw. He would be nowhere near a team for me. Horrendous. He also puts Engels at the left-hand side of this box 4 in the midfield when we know that Engels was thriving on the right. Why not switch the two and put McGregor on the left, who is very, very comfortable there, and let Engels be where he needs to be? I then look at Nygren, who I thought was shambolic against Hearts, and I can't believe that he's managed to get into a team. Those are the two guys that I would not have in my team to begin with, and as I say, I still can't believe that he wants to play Engels to the left of the box 4.
I know. What would you say that's like then, Steve? Was it like a 3-4-1-1?
So basically, they put it up as a 4. They put it up as a 3-4-3, but it's not really here. So really, it's more like you've got your three, the centre there, and then Nygren and Hatate will drop in here. So you've almost got it's like a sort of 3-4-2-1 type of situation. It's the pieces are interchangeable. Basically, is the key point here, but. Because you know that Yang will be expected to go up and down. Tanecki will be expected to go up and down. I think you get nothing out of Tanecki from a defensive standpoint. That's another reason why it doesn't square into bin. But in Maeda, it's self-explanatory, has to go through the middle. The only other option you could have had there is you could have moved Yang out to the left, switched him with Maeda for a bit more defensive cover, or vice versa, Maeda to the left, and maybe run with a Johnny Kenny or an Iheanacho, but maybe Iheanacho's not quite fit yet. Maybe, I don't know, is he the type of striker that Nancy likes? I don't know. He likes high energy, and you don't really get that out of Iheanacho. You get more out of Kenny, but again, is he the standard? That's always a question, isn't it?
Aye, like Yang and Tanecki, obviously they're going to be expected to track back, and like you say, Steve, for Yang, I think you'll get it. He's adding quite a lot to his game just now, and the more I see him, the more I'm being impressed by him, and I know that's going to hurt for you to hear because you're not exactly a massive fan. But
no, listen,
from him, of course we do. But
Paddy, I'll give Yang his flowers in terms of effort. I still don't think he's the answer. He's clearly not the answer. But based on what we need to put on the pitch, he's the only real option. Whilst Forrest is still coming back to some level of fitness, he is the only option that's there. And to be fair to him, in recent performances, he's been digging in. So I'll take in that any day, mate. I'll take that over Tanecki, the king of the 10 step overs that does nothing and can't defend.
The thing is as well, I mean, I think that Johnny Kenny would even be decent in that kind of position, because if you think back to when we seen him playing and he was out on the right-hand side, he was digging in and getting involved in tackles and winning the ball and stuff, and he's got a wee bit of pace about him. So I think if you had to play him in that position, he'd be all right as well. But again, it kind of nullifies him as a striker, which obviously is his trade. I think you're spot on. I think Nygren will play more like we had thought when he first came in, Steve, when you'd say that kind of Chris Commons role, number 10.
But it'd be more like a 10, but then that's when he needs to muck in more, because I thought he was shambolic against Hearts, mate. I really, really did. And Hatate as well, he done nothing for me. Now, when we talk about, we've got Yang, we've got Taneki, and we've got the pieces moving about, there was always an option, a very bold option, maybe it detracts from him, but in a needs-must situation, where you could have maybe switched over, Hatate and used him almost like a sort of wing back. I know that it's not really his forte, but he has played in at right back and certainly for a defensive cover thing. The only difference is he's not blessed with the pace and he's not naturally a winger, so you might lose a bit of width there. But again, I'm just trying to think of in-game solutions if you had to move the pieces about, because listen, you ain't going to that bench and you ain't bringing on Balakwisha. It's just not happening. And other than that, you'll get Luke McCown, who again isn't really a winger, so it's maybe the best of a bad bunch, mate.
When you look at that squad, Steve, I think it equates to what Wilfried Nancy first said when he came in, and that was he liked players who could play in several positions. Now, you spoke about Rio Hatate there, mate, and Rio Hatate is one of the players. He can play the kind of central mid-role, he can play left back, right back, it doesn't matter where you put him, he'll put in a performance. Most of the Japanese guys are like that. They are very versatile. Obviously, Daizen Maeda prefers it through the middle, but can play on the wing, could probably play as a, like you say, that a wing back essentially, up and down that wing like a Didier Agat type role.
So
a lot of these players in there that can do that.
See, just jump in on this. Obviously, Jake's mentioned Balakwisha, right? My God, it shows you how you can get it so drastically wrong. And as he's just said, it's the third manager who doesn't appear to fancy him. Now, I had heard the rumours, and again, it was mentioned on the Axom bulletin as well, that there was this rumour that Balakwisha simply just doesn't fancy it, and he's asked if he can get away.
Again,
the question is, Paddy, how the excuse my French, how the fuck do you sell something like that?
Exactly. That's why we want to take the hat on, Steve. We've said before, Celtic jerseys do not shrink to fit inferior players. The Celtic jersey is heavy, and I think that's what the case is here. I think the Celtic jersey is far too heavy for the boy, because I watched the old YouTube clips before he came in, and by God, mate, he was a class player. He was banging goals for the wing. He was taking players on. He was aggressive. He was quite silky. He comes in and he can't beat James Tavernier in his debut. And for what else we've seen, he's had one good pass in the time that he's been here. So, yes, I think it's one of the ones, Steve, where you probably just take the hat on it, because I don't think that he can handle the pressure. I don't think that he's ready for a team like Celtic, and that's...
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. And that's the thing. People are pointing out, he will, for whatever reason, again, no disrespect, I think he's... is it Congo that he's changed his allegiances to play for, right? I don't know much about DR Congo, right? But I don't imagine they are awash with talent. So by default, he will get to go to the African Cup of Nations, as will Taneki. And again, other than making the squad lighter than it is, if I'm being totally honest with you, we're not really going to miss either of them, because neither of them have done anything in terms of pumping numbers. As we said before, Taneki is just the Tunisian Palma or Haksabanovic. He's interchangeable. He sold you an absolute dream after 2 games, but now in the fullness of time, when we look at it, it appears that we were just so dross and the standard was so low that he was a bang average player with a wee bit of energy that looked good surrounded by tripe. Now that the tripe started to come up a wee bit in standard, he just looks exactly what he is. And what I was getting slated for when I came on here and was pointing out, this guy's stats are crap.
Yes, I know. And he came in, like you say, Steve, a couple of good games and you're like, wow, brilliant, this guy's he's a player. And yeah, we quickly realised that there's a kind of one-trick pony in there. And I love what Jake and Barry saying there as well. Balakwisha and his entourage can do one. And this is a guy who we had to go out and convince him to come to a club the size of Celtic. Now that to me just, I don't know, that gave me the alarm bell, Steve, when you were talking about that. Oh, we need to convince the guy to come in. I don't know if it was alarm bells, if I was like, wow, this boy must be a player. His own entourage. I don't know what's the deal here. What are we getting here?
I think we call it clingers on, mate.
Aye, I don't know what the deal is, mate. But obviously, he's not hit the mark, and I think he's one where you take the hit. Tinetke, I think, under the right manager could come good. And I think possibly Wilfried will get the best out of him. Obviously, when Jota comes back, Tinetke's going to be a passenger, because I'd imagine Jota to go straight into that squad and to basically hold on to that position.
It shows you how we need. Sorry, Jota. It shows you how we know we need signings. We need signings come January. Of course we do. But just think of the transformation you get when you get the addition of having back Alistair Johnson as an actual decent quality right-sided defensive player. Up and down, but in a back three, Carter Vickers looks a hell of a lot better, and Jota, it looks a lot better when you get those three in right now. I mean, even if you had those options right now with the rest of the crap around it, the team looks a lot more solid than it does.
Aye.
But there's a big
job. Steve, right? Obviously, Alistair Johnson's worked under him before. And I think with this sort of formation, the three at the back, I think Johnson's your perfect right-sided wing-back player, essentially. It's just right in the right-hand side of that midfield to go forward, to come back. And he's ideal for that position because he likes to overlap. You remember when Nicholas Kuhn was there and that overlap in Johnson was always there. It was something that was a constant in that squad. And then you look at the other side, Jota likes to get back. Daizen Maeda, even in that position, is incredible at tracking back. We've seen it in the 87th minute, Daizen busting through and getting all the way back as well. And it's just, when we get our players back, we're going to have, like for like, we're going to have options in there. And I think once we strengthen in January, which I think we have to, then it'll be all good going forward if he gets to bring in his players.
Well, Paddy, we've spoken a wee bit about ourselves. Let's talk about the opposition here. Now, obviously, Roma. As you say, it's a so-so season for them. By their standards, 4th in Serie A. Yep. They've played 14, won 9, lost 5. They've not scored a lot of goals, 27 points, 15 goals, 8 against. They're +7 now. As I say, not scoring a lot of goals, and the same goes for their run in the Europa League. They have had, out the 5 games, they've got 9 points, 3 losses. Sorry, they've got 3 wins, 2 losses. They have +2 on goal difference, having only scored 7, but also conceding 5. Obviously, there's been some decent results there. There's been a win over Nice, 2-1, 2-0 against Rangers. We know, and of course, they overcame Midtjylland, who looked like hot shit when we played them, and have been very good throughout the course of this. The losses are 1-0 and 2-1, respectively, to Lille and Victoria Pilsen. Now, this is how they're lining up there. And as we said, we've got a wee look at them against Rangers. And there's a few guys, the boy Sule here, he scores against Rangers. But then the strike force, El Shaarawy and Ferguson, who was once linked with us. Now, between the two of them, mate, Ferguson's got 1 goal and 1 assist all season, and there's chat of him getting thrown in the bin. So you know that probably means he's going to have a great good game tonight. And the now 33-year-old El Shaarawy has 1 goal and 1 assist. They are hardly potent here, Paddy. Hardly potent. I'm quite glad to see that Pellegrini is on the bench because he has been one of their most effective midfielders. But Sule here, or Sule, however you want to say his name, he's been their best performer all season with 5 goals and 2 assists. Obviously scored against Rangers there. For what you've seen of Roma, what do you expect out of them, mate? Because, as I said, they're a good team, but when I watched them against Rangers, I thought they just look like any of these other middle of the sort of road European sides. They're a big name, like ourselves, a big name, but they're not performing to their name.
Aye, there's a lot of superstars in there, Steve. More so on the bench, may I say.
Yes, and that's exactly what Strangelove said. The bench is where the energy is. If they need to bring on and change it, but it's fair to say, mate, look at the differences between our bench and their bench.
Exactly. You look at us, right? We can bring on Kelechi Iheanacho. They can bring on Paulo Dybala. Do you know what I mean? There's a wee bit of difference there. We're looking at Paulo Bernardo. They're bringing on Leon Bailey or Brian Cristante. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a wee bit of a difference in there when you look at the class. But the team, like you
A
say,
wee bit of difference, Paddy. I like that. A wee bit of
wee
difference.
bit of difference in there, right? Can they cope under the pressure of the lights at Celtic Park with a team right behind the squad? I don't know.
Yeah.
You look at that team, Steve, when you say El Shaarawy, yes, El Shaarawy's incredible 5 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Yes, he'll cause us problems. Yes, he's got a bit of pace about him, but I think he's ageing, and I think that he will be dealt with. I don't think he's the one that's going to cause us a lot of hassle. Evan Ferguson, again, like you said, Steve, we were buzzing when we were linked with him. We thought, wow, he's a cracking player.
See, we already had a big immobile Irish plank of wood.
Yes, and
We didn't need another Irish international who doesn't score goals. That was the last thing we needed. So I'm not losing any sleep about that, mate.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Even in the defence, mate, Ndika in defence, big lad, he is solid. He's just an absolute unit, and he's seen that against Rangers. He was brilliant. Your young lad Mancini as well. I mean, there's no mugs in there, Steve. I'm kind of looking through their bench and just going, oh my God, like you say, Bailey, Dybala, Coney, Costa Simicas for Liverpool, Lorenzo Pellegrini, Brian Cristante, Angelino. Wow, do you know what I mean? Like, they're absolute worldies on paper, and that's on paper, Steve. Many have came to Celtic Park and failed, and I just hope that tonight we can get out there. A quick start is all we're asking for here. See, we get a quick start and we get them under the cosh. Let's see what we can do. I love 420's optimism there.
I think it's state the obvious, Paddy, but Celtic need to settle and they need to try and get their noses in front.
Yes.
Concede first and it can all unravel.
But concede first, it could be cricket score.
Exactly. But I mean, you look at the options here, but you know, is Jake saying right now, again, it's as optimism, let's be honest, it is optimism. Their last two Serie A games, they lost at home 1-0 to Napoli. Hey, who's not losing to Napoli? They're a fantastic team. But they also took a loss away to a very average Cagliari. So there you go. It is possible to beat them. But as many folk are saying there, in fact, just about no, we're not going to do a watch along, Michael. It's something that we've discussed a bit, but I don't think it's not really my thing, to be honest with you. We might do it at some point, the watch alongs.
I would need to be muted. That's the problem.
I think we'll be honest here and not try and dress it up and kid on that we would somehow be socially acceptable to do a watch along with. No, we would get our channel shut down. Yeah, see those words that you can't say, like the C word, that would come out every second and third time and would be completely demonetized and everything would be like, no, you've said the C-bomb too many times, you can't say that. You can't say see you next Tuesday and there'd be a lot of that. And we would end up being clapped. Look at these guys melting down Paddy. Wow, you think Paddy's bad coming on and moaning about angles here? You want to see it in the flesh when it goes wrong.
Aye. I know. There would be several nations offended when I'm watching a game. And I imagine it with a Glasgow derby, Steve. Well, that would be absolute chaos.
Paddy doesn't care what age you are, what nationality you are, how long you've been at the club. See if you're crap, you are getting it, both barrels, and as we say. You would think that he didn't actually like the players if we watched it, so there you go. Yeah. We'll always be honest with you, always be honest. But no, we've said we might do it at some point. We might do it at some point. I don't think, given the backdrop of the sort of feeling...
I think it would definitely get us viral, Steve, to be fair.
I get now a virus. You catch some sort of illness listening to you. But we digress a bit. But no, back to the point in hand, Paddy. I think that it's a massive uphill fight today.
Yes.
Do you know what? I think if I'm being completely optimistic, you could maybe scratch a draw out. Yeah, that's as good as I've got. I know that's not really positive.
I said after the Hearts game, mate, I would take a draw. I really would. Now, after looking at their bench, I would bite your hand off for a draw. But listen, it's Celtic Park, mate. Nights like this, I've been there, you've been there, we've seen it. Everybody in the chat's seen it. We've beat bigger, and I'm just hoping for one of the magical nights I don't know whether I'm just getting caught up in the whole situation and stuff like that. And
the one thing I would say is I think that, and I've noticed that I've mentioned that this last show, mentioned that a wee bit at the start there. What I think has happened is there's a lot of people who are, for whatever reason, getting quickly dragged into a narrative, and they're getting dragged into they're getting led down a certain path. And it's uncharacteristic. As I said to you before, oh, there we go. Is that full time, Paddy?
that is full time, yep.
There we go. Good.
Bobby Keaton is celebrating in front of them.
There we go. And talking about situations could be worse. There's Rangers. What if they got 1 point or something in this whole entire tournament? They're done. They're not coming back. They are as good. They're as done. They might as well just pack it up right now. But Celtic have 7 points. And if we lost tonight, we are fucking idiots still. That's just goes to show you the narrative there. Batman's away to watch the game. What's going there? What?
Danny Rowe.
Danny Rowe, I know. Mate, he's still a genius apparently, because you can just
because he's not got tactics board or shite trainers. I ain't bother, mate.
Exactly, because he wears a suit and he wears brown shoes, and that's enough to keep folk happy. That's it. He's done it. Well, it is, mate. Let's be honest, it's totally fine. He's upholding the standards of Rangers Football Club and professionalism, apparently. Nancy's running about in a tracksuit and he's a clown, but there you go. But sorry, we keep on getting these daft tangents, what we like. No, the game, mate, Paddy, tonight, let's get on with it. I think that, as Strangelove says, we lost a goal in Feyenoord. We keep the head, we keep it together. Yes. For me, I thought, and I'll say it again, Hearts, was it a great performance? No, it wasn't. There was wee spells, 25 minutes at the start, and then, as we say, for 60 onwards, they picked up. The middle bit, it just washed into itself. I honestly didn't think it was that bad. The 2 goals were defensively shambolic, but they were complete and utter freak moments. Let's be totally honest here. They were absolute freak moments. If they don't happen, that game just cruises to a draw, probably.
I know.
And it's just another flat performance. And I think there's definitely potential for that to happen again tonight. I'm more concerned about how we deal with the set pieces, Paddy. That's not me writing off. Watch us, bloody well, Roma will go and do what they do. But I'm more concerned. The only thing I've been concerned, and I've been concerned for all seasons, how we deal with our set pieces. Yeah. Because I thought that the nuts and bolts we were trying to do looked stable enough.
I want us to do something for set pieces as well, Steve, because that's something that we make a lot of chances. We get a lot of set pieces, we get a lot of corners. And I think, obviously, with the new formation going forward, we're going to make a lot of chances. Right now, I'm going to say about 1 each. I think it'll be 1 each, nothing each, something like that. Pretty close, like you said, Steve. But my heart says 2-1. And I'm going to go with Willie there. I think 2-1.
You're going to say to Roma?
To Celtic.
Oh wow! I'll be honest. I don't like saying it. I think Celtic will fall to the 2-0 Rangers defeat. I just do. I'll be honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie and just kid on. That's where I'm at with it. I think a defeat that's not a heavy defeat, if the performance is decent. And I think I have more chance or belief that a team like Roma undo you with good play rather than what we've seen against Hearts. And if we lost 2 goals for great play, then I'll be all right with it. I'll be all right with it. But everything around us needs to be good as well. That's where I'm at. But yeah, do you know what? I'm going to say, oh, like that. Yes, I love it. I love the positivity. There we go. And there's a 2-0 for the Hoops, and I love it. I honestly wish I could be so as optimistic as you guys, but I'm always a realist with you. I think, unfortunately, we will fall. But as I said, all the way through the show, it's not going to dictate anything to me. I'm taking really nothing away from it. I'm just looking for an improvement in the performance for what we got against Hearts. I'm looking more towards Sunday. That's going to be my early barometer, because that's a cup final and that's definitely a team that we should be beating. And then I'll be looking at how we performed against them last time, and if we can beat them with a better performance and get a cup, then that's improvement for me.
Yeah, that's it. We need to go out there and do it convincingly, Steve. And tonight, I think tonight's all about performance. you heard Wilfried Nancy's comments when he was talking about the squad and talking after the Hearts game, and performance was his main ambition, shall we say. That was his main thing. I want to concentrate on the performance. If you get the performance right, the results will come and things like that. And a lot of people are saying it, and you said it as well, Steve, he talks well. He really, really backs himself, and you see that again because he's went with his formation, he's went with what he believes. And if we can go out there and we can do something tonight, listen, we're not asking to go out there and win 3-0, 3-2, whatever. We're asking to go out and perform well against a very well-equipped side, against a side that's got World Cup winners in it, against a side that's got players that would walk into any side in Europe. Do you know what I mean? We're asking them to go out there and give us something to be happy about, give us something to focus on going forward. Yeah. And that's what tonight is. People said in the chat before, Steve, it's a free hit if you can ever have that. We're sitting okay in Europe. Yes, we're not going to go out there and win it. We know that. We want to qualify for the latter stages, but we still can, even if we lose this tonight.
Well, that's it. The remaining 2 games, they are what they are. That you feel you should be getting points out of them. Particularly you, Trick, I'd say, got to be looking at that, but we'll take that as well.
You get the hologram and goals, man. We'll definitely score against them.
Is he still playing and getting a game with them? I didn't think he was. But
just now, mate. I'll check.
I didn't think he was, but a Barkas, but then again, he could be the kind of guy who comes back to haunt you. But no, listen, thanks to everybody joining us. We're about 10 minutes off. Is he? Wow. We're about 10 minutes off for the kick-off, so hopefully we get something positive. And as we said before, let's get behind the manager. He is our manager. This is who we've got. I think the fundamentals of what he wants to do is all there. We just need, firstly, he needs the players to get it done, right? He does. But we also need a wee bit of belief. At a time when our club is so fractured, I think it's important for us as fans to stand shoulder to shoulder and alongside the players and the manager, whoever that may well be. There's enough divides, there's enough toxicity elsewhere, and a lot of it is funneling out with from the top down at our club. So it's up for us to pull ourselves up as fans, to pull up the team and to pull up the new manager and show them that there is actually belief. And everything else, all the nonsense, all the slaggings, all the jibes, it's outside noise. Shut out the noise and crack on with it. That's where I'm at, Paddy.
That's it, mate. Listen, you highlighted it as well. We need to stand together as fans and back the manager, and the board need to stand with us. They need to show a bit of solidarity. If they're the ones that are, yes, they're under fire, yes, they're upset, of course they are. Their jobs are at threat. But by banning parts of the support and stuff, obviously, granted, because things did happen, but banning basically fan media from all of that. It's going to be as well, and I heard they've also banned fan media from the ladies' games as well, which I just think, mate, it's ridiculous. They're biting off the hand that feeds them, and it's not a good look. But going forward,
they want to promote. They want to promote the women's game. They want to promote the B squad game, and yet they're not getting those that would be the ones, let's be totally honest, who would be most likely to go to those games en masse. So it is cutting their nose off to spite their face. But it will be pretty much a full house tonight. Let's hope that those that are in can make the noise, create the atmosphere, and push the guys on. Sook the ball into the net, as they say, Paddy. So we shall wait. Thanks for joining me, mate. Just for everybody's info, we'll not be back until tomorrow. I am, unless I'm told otherwise, going to be with Terry after the game on his channel to talk about it. Win, lose or draw. So go and watch that later on, Boys in the Bus. And of course, make sure though that you come back to watch Celtic World Order when we pop back up tomorrow to talk about it. So enjoy the game. Keep the faith, get behind brother Wilfried, and until next time, Paddy boy.
Take care of yourselves and hail, hail.
See you later, bye-bye.